vanished without a trace. The night Asha Degree walked into the dark. She was 9 years old when the night swallowed her. 9 and already stepping into a storm that grown men would hesitate to face. What pulls a child from a warm bed at 3:45 a.m.? What whisper is strong enough to make fear step aside? Because on that February night in Shelby, North Carolina, Asha Degree did not vanish quietly. She walked into the dark. Prologue, the road. Highway 18 remembers. It remembers rain drumming on asphalt like knuckles on a coffin lid. It remembers headlights cutting tunnels through darkness. It remembers a small figure moving against the wind, shoulders hunched, backpack tight against her spine. And it remembers how she ran, not toward help, not toward light, into the trees. Chapter 1. The House That Never Woke Up. The Degree home slept the way safe houses sleep, calm, predictable, ordinary. 2 children in one room, parents down the hall, doors locked not from fear but habit. Asha had school the next day. Basketball practice was behind her. Valentine's Day was coming. Life was still small enough to fit inside routines, and yet sometime before dawn, those routines shattered without a sound. No slammed door, no broken window, no cry in the night. When her parents checked her bed hours later, it was cold in the way absence always feels colder than winter. A child doesn't disappear like this, not without leaving fingerprints on the moment, unless the moment was chosen. Chapter 2. The Storm. The weather turned ugly after midnight. Rain lashed the town. Power flickered and failed, plunging neighborhoods into sudden blackness before sputtering back to life. Somewhere in that darkness, a backpack was packed. Think about that. Not grabbed, not thrown together, packed. Inside were clothes, small comforts, pieces of intention. A 9-year-old preparing for something she believed would happen. Was it a plan or a promise? If this story matters to you, if these questions itch at the back of your mind, this is where you step closer. Like the video, subscribe to Behind the Veil Truths, because cases like this survive on attention. Chapter 3. Sightings. The first sighting came from a truck driver. He saw a child walking south along Highway 18, alone, in the rain, before dawn. At first he thought his eyes were lying. Children do not belong on highways at that hour, but the figure stayed there, step after step, stubborn against the wind. Another driver saw her too. One of them turned his vehicle around, slowed, rolled down a window, called out, and that's when the story takes its sharpest turn. Asha ran. She bolted from the roadside and disappeared into the woods like prey that had heard the wrong footstep. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. What scares a child more than a stranger offering help? And what kind of fear sends her into black woods instead? Chapter 4. The Woods. Searchers would later comb those woods. Dogs tracked scents that twisted and died like cut wires. Rain erased footprints. Time smudged everything else. They found a few items. Not enough to explain. Not enough to accuse. Just enough to haunt. The case began to do what unsolved cases always do. It gathered theories like barnacles, runaway, abduction, accident. But none of them fit cleanly. Asha was shocked, afraid of the dark, afraid of dogs, afraid of storms. And yet she walked into all three. That contradiction sits at the center of this case like a locked door with no keyhole. Chapter 5. The Wait. Weeks passed, then months. Posters faded in windows. Leads dried up. Shelby returned to its rhythms, but something underneath never settled. Because everyone remembered that night, parents checked locks twice. Children were watched more closely. The highway stopped feeling neutral. And then 18 months later, the earth gave something back. Chapter 6. The Backpack. 30 miles away, along a stretch of land being prepared for construction, workers found a plastic-wrapped bundle buried in the ground. Inside was Asha's backpack, buried. Wrapped, hidden. This was no accident. This was not something tossed aside. Inside were items that raised more questions than they answered. A book that didn't belong to her, clothing that sparked debate, objects that suggested she had been somewhere else before everything ended. Burial means intention. Intention means a person, and a person means a story we still don't know. Was the backpack a grave marker? A trophy? Or a delayed confession? Chapter 7. The Long Shadow. Years turned into decades. The case never closed. It slept with one eye open. Investigators revisited old leads. New technology breathed faint life into old evidence. Whispers returned about vehicles, about people who had been nearby, about things not said in 2000 that felt heavier now. Then something shifted. Authorities renewed public attention. New searches were conducted. A green decades-old vehicle was removed from a property and taken away for examination. That doesn't happen in dead cases. That happens when someone believes the past still has a pulse. If you're still with me here, if you feel that pressure building, this is your second nudge. Subscribe to Behind the Veil Truths. We follow the stories that refuse to lie down. Chapter 8, Trust. Strip this case down to its bones, and one idea keeps breathing beneath it. Asha may have trusted someone, not a monster in the dark, not a stranger in a panic moment, someone familiar enough to feel safe, someone who could make a child believe that stepping into a storm was temporary. That belief is the most dangerous weapon of all, because trust leaves no marks. It doesn't scream. It doesn't fight. It walks. Chapter 9, Questions that won't stay quiet. So now the questions come back to us. Why that night? Why that road? Why pack a bag at all? Was she meeting someone? Was she following instructions? Or did something happen inside that house that never made noise? I want you to weigh in below, because this case has survived on shared thinking for over 2 decades. Do you believe Asha left voluntarily, or was she guided? Do the highway sightings represent a plan or a panic? And if you were the driver who saw her run into the woods, would you have followed? Every answer says something about how we understand fear. Epilogue. The road again. Highway 18 still waits. Cars pass. Rain falls. Headlights sweep across trees that have grown taller since 2000. Somewhere in those shadows is the truth. Not gone. Not erased. Just hidden long enough to make people forget to look. But forgetting is the one thing this story refuses to do. Because next time we follow the cameras, the footage that should have saved lives, the images that watch but never speak, and sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't what the camera missed. It's what it captured. To be continued.